The summer air was thick with heat and nostalgia as I stepped through the wooden gate of the villa we'd rented. The pool shimmered in the distance, laughter echoing off the stone walls. It had been nearly 2 years since I'd last seen Zayan, my childhood best friend, the boy who had once known every corner of my heart, even if he never realized it. Now, I wasn't sure who he'd become, but when I saw him, leaning back on a lounge chair, sunglasses pushed up into his thick hair, all the air left my lungs. Zayan stood to greet me with that same crooked grin, arms wide. He looked different, broader, more defined. His body, once lanky and boyish, had transformed. When we hugged, his warmth pressed against me, and for a second too long, I didn't let go. "You've changed, man," I said, trying to sound casual. "You too," he laughed, more grown up, but still the same face. He clapped my back, then turned toward the pool. "Come on, let's catch up." The others mingled, old friends, new faces, but my attention kept sliding back to him. Zayan had always felt safe, to me, like a home I could carry in my chest. Growing up, I had crushed on boys with secrets I never shared, but Zayan was off limits. He was straight. He dated girls, played soccer, and laughed off every flirtation tossed his way. We never talked about who I was back then. I wasn't ready, and he never asked. Now, watching him talk to others, shirt clinging to his back, I realized something unsettling. My eyes lingered on him longer than they should have. And when he pulled off his shirt to dive into the pool, I froze. His body was stunning, solid, sculpted, golden from the sun. Water splashed up as he surfaced, shaking his head, droplets trailing down his chest. I looked away too late, catching his eye as he smiled at me from the water. It wasn't flirtatious, just friendly, but my stomach twisted all the same. Sat at the pool's edge, feet dipped in, trying to steady my thoughts. I'd always been good at drawing lines, keeping myself in check. But now, memories of sleepovers, whispered secrets, and the comfort of his nearness collided with something newer, something dangerous. He swam over, resting his arms on the ledge beside me. "You've gotten quiet." "Just tired," I lied. Zayan tilted his head. "You sure?" His gaze held mine for a beat too long. Then he smirked and splashed water at my legs. "Don't go all serious on me. We've got a whole weekend to be kids again." He dove back under, disappearing into the blue. I watched the ripples fade, heart racing with something I couldn't name, something I hadn't prepared for. Because I wasn't just seeing my best friend again, I was seeing a man I didn't know how to feel about, and I was caught off guard. That night, the villa softened under moonlight, shadows stretching long across the patio. The others had drifted to their rooms, laughter replaced by the chirping of cicadas. Zayan and I remained outside, feet dangling in the cool water, a half-empty bottle of wine between us. The silence wasn't awkward. It was familiar, comfortable, but beneath it, something had shifted. "I miss this," he said, swirling the wine in his glass. "Us." I nodded, eyes tracing the way the water reflected against his skin. "Yeah. It's strange how fast time moved." He leaned back on his hands, head tilted toward the stars. "You ever think about how different everything could have been if we'd gone to the same college?" "All the time," I answered too quickly. He looked over, eyes catching mine, and I forced a laugh to cover it. "We might have killed each other." "Maybe," he smirked. "Or maybe we'd still be doing this, just closer." The word hung there. Closer. I couldn't decide if he meant physically or something else. I turned away, heart thudding. It was dangerous, this game of inches. Every word, every glance felt like stepping toward a line I wasn't sure either of us understood. He nudged me with his foot. "You've changed. You're quieter now." I guess I learned to keep some things to myself. His expression sobered. "Like what?" The question caught me off guard. For a second, I almost told him everything. that I used to lie awake, wondering what it would feel like to hold his hand, that I sometimes replayed his laugh just to feel something steady, but instead I shrugged. It doesn't matter. Zayan moved closer, just enough that our shoulders brushed. It does, though. You're my best friend. I looked at him. Really looked. The way his eyes softened when he was being honest. The way he always made space for me, even when he didn't know what I needed. And in that moment, I hated how much I still wanted more. I'm glad we're here, he said quietly. With you, it's always easy. The words were simple, but the way he said them made my chest tighten. I could have pulled away. I should have. But instead, I let my fingers rest on the warm tile between us, closer than necessary. His hand brushed mine. He didn't flinch. The contact was small, innocent maybe, but my skin burned like it meant something. Neither of us spoke. The night held its breath. Zayan eventually stood stretching. I'm turning in. You coming? In a minute, I said, unable to move. He paused, glanced back, then walked inside. His silhouette vanished behind the glass door, but his presence lingered like smoke. Alone now, I stared at the place where our hands had met, my mind racing, with questions I couldn't afford to ask. And for the first time, I wasn't sure what scared me more, that he had felt something too, or that he hadn't. The sun was already high when I woke, heat pressing through the villa's thin curtains. My first instinct was to check my phone. No messages. No calls. Just the lingering memory of last night, and the maddening way Zayan's fingers had hovered, near mine, like an invitation whispered and retracted in the same breath. Downstairs, the mood had shifted. Everyone was buzzing around the kitchen, making breakfast and nursing hangovers. But Zayan was different. He didn't meet my eyes. He laughed a little too loudly, touched shoulders a little too often, like he was performing ease instead of living in it. I waited for a moment alone, something quiet to hold on to, but he stayed distant. I tried brushing past him, a silent test to see if he'd acknowledge the energy between us. He didn't. It wasn't until midday that I heard it. I was walking past the open patio door when someone inside, Arib, one of our mutual friends, said it with careless excitement. He's planning to propose soon. To Noor. Didn't you know? I stopped in my tracks. My chest tightened. Another voice chimed in. He showed me the ring last week. Said he's just waiting for the right moment. A ringing started in my ears. I turned back toward the pool, my face burning under the sun. Noor. I'd heard her name in passing over the years. Zayan's long-distance girlfriend. I never asked questions. He never offered details. I found him sitting near the shallow end, scrolling through his phone, like the world wasn't crumbling at my feet. I approached, pulse pounding. You're getting engaged? I asked, voice too calm. He looked up, blinking. What? To Noor. Everyone knows. Why didn't you tell me? His mouth parted, then closed. I was going to. It's not official. Yet. I didn't want to make it a thing this weekend. You didn't want to make it a thing, I echoed, trying not to shout. After last night? His eyes darted away. What about last night? Don't do that, I snapped. You touched me. You looked at me like maybe I wasn't imagining everything. Zayan stood, shaking his head. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. We were just talking. You let it mean something, I said quietly, and now you're pretending it didn't happen. His voice hardened. You're reading into things. You always do this. Something broke inside me then, not just from the denial, but from the coldness in his tone. The boy who once held all my secrets now stood in front of me, rewriting every memory we'd shared. I turned away before he could see the tears. The others were laughing in the background, unaware. To them, it was just another summer day. To me, it was the moment I realized that betrayal didn't always come from enemies. It could come from the person you trusted most. And there, beside the pool where it all began, I felt the weight of what was never going to be. The villa emptied slowly that evening, the energy dulling as the sun sank beneath the horizon. Bags were packed, cars idled in the driveway, people exchanged hugs and promises they wouldn't keep. I moved mechanically, nodding and smiling, trying to appear whole when I felt splintered inside. I hadn't spoken to Zion since the confrontation by the pool. He'd kept his distance. Whether out of guilt or cowardice, I didn't care anymore. He approached me only once, just before I reached for my bag. "Can we talk?" I didn't want to hear him, not really, but I nodded because some endings need to be witnessed, even when they hurt. We walked a few steps away from the others, stopping. Near the old stone wall that bordered the property, the silence between us felt thick, almost cruel. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he said. His voice was soft, the same one he used to use when we were kids, and he broke something we both cared about. I didn't know. "Didn't know what?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. He looked down. "That you felt this way, that I made you feel this way." "That's the problem," I replied. "You did know, you always knew. Maybe not in words, but you felt it, and instead of stepping back, you leaned in. You made space for it, until it became too real." His jaw tightened. "I didn't mean for anything to happen, and yet it did." He turned away, gripping the edge of the wall. I thought I could separate it, keep what we had and still move forward with Noor. I didn't realize how far I'd let things go. "You don't get to have both," I said, not unkindly. "You don't get to dip into my feelings when you're unsure of your own." There was a long silence. A breeze stirred the trees. Zion looked at me then, eyes filled with something like sorrow, but not love. Not the kind I needed. "I hope you find someone who makes you feel seen," he said quietly. "Truly seen. I hope you learn to stop looking away when you already do." He nodded, slowly, and walked back toward the villa without another word. I stayed there a while, letting the wind carry away the last traces of what we'd almost become. The ache in my chest wasn't just heartbreak. It was the mourning of a version of us that only I had believed in. By the time I reached my car, the sky had darkened completely. I didn't look back. Some stories don't end in flames or fury. Some end in silence, with glances that don't linger and goodbyes that echo long after the words are spoken. And in that quiet, I understood. Love doesn't always need a villain to hurt. Sometimes, it just needs someone too afraid to feel.